Okay, hi, everybody. Before I forget at the end, I wish everybody a happy Labor's Day. Just enjoy the weekend. Okay, and keep it simple. All right. I want to continue. We're finishing the series tonight on relationships. And our topic tonight is relationships and sexuality. And I just want to emphasize that I'm going to, even though it says relationships and sexuality, it's not a talk on sex. It's a talk on sexuality. So sorry about that. So it's kind of an interesting process. We'll talk about it in a minute. I want to begin by doing a reading from the language of letting go from January the 6th. Relationships are the blessing and band of recovery. Relationships where we take our recovery show on the road. Each day we are forced with the prospect of functioning in several different relationships. Sometimes we choose them and sometimes we don't. The one choice we usually have in our relationships concerns our behavior. In recovering codependency, our goal is to behave in ways that demonstrate responsibility for ourselves. Learning to acknowledge our power to take care of ourselves in all of our relationships. Learning to be intimate with people when possible. Recovery is not done apart from our relationships. Recovery is done by learning to own our power, take care of ourselves in relationships. They will participate in my relationships to the best of my ability. I make myself available for closeness and sharing with people I trust. I will ask for what I need, and I will give what feels right. I want to do that reading because one thing what we're doing in this series is I want to kind of conclude it tonight with a talk about relationships and sexuality. Your sexuality is one of the most important parts of our journey and our growth process in life. Because our sexuality really means to come to a knowledge of my personhood, of who I am as an individual and a person. I mentioned this in the second talk. I talked about the most important person on your journey in relationships is the one you have with yourself. And from the energy of ourself, those relationships reach out to others. And they connect in very many different ways. You know, back when my wife and I celebrated our 5th anniversary, we were in a place called Sedona, Arizona. And while we were there, we visited the Hopi Indians. And they took us up part of a mountain. And it was our 5th anniversary. So we actually renewed our vows in the middle of the medicine wheel. And the wheel is a very powerful symbol. And the symbol actually teaches us. The symbol of the wheel, it has no beginning, it has no end. It's circular. Just like the journey of life. Even though physically it has a beginning and it has an ending, our spirit, what makes us who we are, is circular and continues in the process. And so really in reality, we realize the fact that the spirit of who we are as an individual is the gift of who we are. It's what we refer to as our sexuality, or a sense of ourself as a person. So the word sexuality can go into 4 areas, the 4 areas of the wagon wheel, which simply are the north, the east, the south, and the west. But we connect with a wagon wheel. So I'm going to use it as an analogy for this talk I'm giving tonight, because I really believe it brings out the symbolic thing I'm talking about. When I wrote my book on relationships, you'll notice on the front cover, there is the wagon wheel. Because a wheel is basically, we look at the concept of it. The wheel is circular, it has a rim on the outside. On the inside, it has a center that connects to the axle. To me, the symbolic is the axle is our higher power, and the symbol of what connects to it is each and every one of us. But in order for us to be able to function in the wheel, we have to be able to interconnect into all different types of relationships, and they're the spokes on the wheel. Notice one thing though, if we only have one spoke, the wheel's not going to get very far. So in life, we have to learn the concept of balance. And so whether we realize it or not, we're involved in relationships each and every day of our life. And we're able to look at those relationships with a positive eye or with a negative eye. And as a result then, from the beginning of our birth, we enter into relationships. In the beginning with our family. And the thing I have to emphasize is that all relationships, no matter what they are, have some forms of dysfunctionality because they're human and because we're in a human world. And so as a result, then we connect with family. And from there, we also connect with neighborhood, cultural, environment spokes. All these things are part of who we are and part of our makeup. We have to be able to embrace them, learn from them, grow from them. We look at the concept of school and schooling. And so basically, school becomes a relationship. We have a connection with different aspects of school, and we learn from those different areas. We also learn from different ways in which we continue the process of our personal growth. As young people and teenagers, we go into different areas of schooling. Everything in life is this constant process of growing, changing, and a constant process of change. And change is what this really is all about. Because the more you try to control life, the more you try to face it with fear, the more it will bring you down. And that's why we have to learn to build these relationships. So we have them on a physical level, an emotional level. We have a relationship with our feelings. We have a relationship with pain, a relationship with joy, a relationship with celebration, a relationship with all different areas of life. And so on the journey, we're taken in very many different directions. And I believe our higher power, our higher presence actually is a guide, and we're being led by the messengers that come into our life. I look back on my life today and I'm grateful to my mom, even though she was a little controlling. I'm grateful that she put me in the seminary. You know, I look back on it today through therapy. At least it got me out on my own and I had to develop a sense of my independence. And so you look at everything in life through a positive eyes, but we're human beings. So what do? We first look at it negatively through those eyes of control. Then later on, through struggle, through going through stuff, when struggle's a relationship, we come to the other side and we learn to see the positive stuff in it. I never thought my wildest dreams I'd be saying that the nuns that taught me in grammar school, you know, were a positive part of my growth. They scared the crap out of me. They probably would scare the crap out of the Marine Corps. But basically, they actually, in a way, the discipline, the structure, the things I went through, I look back on it now and I said, that was boot camp. That's all it was. As a result, then, I've become a better person as a result of it. See, I can look back and say, wow, look what they did to me. At the same time, I can look and say, what can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? All these relationships we have in life are part of it. It's part of our journey. When I got ordained a priest, coming out of protective custody, I look at the seminary as my protective custody. My mom put me there to take care of me. But the bottom line is I can smile about that today and I can joke about it today. With the gift of recovery, I can talk about that today. As a young priest, I went to a parish. I never knew what I was going to get into. I was gung-ho, I was raring to go. I went to a parish where the pastor was an alcoholic. The parish was kind of a disaster. And all of a sudden, I was running a parish. I had the slightest idea what I was doing, but I did it. I look back on it today, there's a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety, a lot of craziness. And I was really angry at him and go through a lot of changes. But I look back on it today and I say, thank you. Because as a result of being in that parish, the higher power sent a messenger into my life. In 1969, a man named Morgan, who I'll be indebted to for the rest of my life, arrived at my door and took me to my first 12-step meeting. I didn't even know what a 12-step meeting was when he took me there. The meeting was Al-Anon. And even though I went to the meeting, I didn't totally agree with the people at the meeting because I wanted something from them they couldn't give me. But they started that journey of telling me, in this big, thick head of mine, telling me to work on me, to get in touch with me, to build a sense of myself. They planted some seeds. Then when I was 32, I had a nervous breakdown. I was in a hospital and God sent another messenger. I wish I could remember his name. But it's a doctor that came into my life and told me the exact same thing. He said, you're spiritually dead. You have no idea who you are. It's time for you to get in touch with yourself. It's time for you to do your work. Instead of trying to save the world, save everybody, and killing yourself in the process. I don't like him either. It's funny how we don't like these people and all of a sudden they help you. Isn't that amazing? You come right down to it. I get the biggest kick out of that today. You know, I'm realizing over and over again, some of my greatest teachers are people that tried to lead me in a certain direction. I didn't want to go because of my control issues. I wanted to go a different way, but eventually they wore me down and got me to go to where I'm supposed to go. And that's funny how this process works in life. And so everything in life is a relationship. God sends people into our life at certain times to become teachers. I never forget, how someone in my parish, when I was going through some of my craziness, my insanity, and I was going through my own process, and my own eating disorder was totally out of control. Someone in my parish invited me to go see a doctor. Now, I didn't want to go because I didn't have any problems. But again, here's another one. I went to see the doctor so I could prove that she was wrong. And then that doctor, it's amazing, became my therapist for 5 years. Once I got in his clutches, I couldn't get rid of him. It's totally amazing. But he changed my life. And I look at his photograph that's on the wall in my office. I put it there on purpose when he died. It's a memorial. I never want to forget some of the beautiful things he taught me. But see, it's amazing. I could stay here tonight because I've been around for a lot of years. I could stay here tonight, and I'm sure every one of us in this room could do this and tell you stories about messengers and people that came into our life, ones that we fought and battled with, even the struggles, the hurt, the pain, the things we had to go through, even our losses, sadness. Everything's about growth. It's about change. And so our sexuality is really the concept of this growth process I'm going through constantly to come to a better knowledge of myself. So all the people I'm involved in relationships, even you, Lorena, all the people I'm involved in relationships, literally help me in my personal growth, help me to become a better person. Because anybody that challenges you allows you to become a better person in different ways. And I realized that over and over again. I went to my first eating disorder meeting, and I didn't like it. Those people were weird. And later on, I found out they became my best friends. Isn't that amazing? I thought they were weird, though, in the beginning. But it changes after a while. And so what I've learned over the years is as you get older and as you go through changes, you learn. I've heard this so many times. Listen to the elders, learn from them. The Indians talk about it all the time in the meditation books. As I think back on life, thank God. My father tried. He taught me all those wonderful things like take it easy, relax, you'll learn, don't worry, in time, things you'll get, and on and on. And of course, I was young. I had all the answers. And I found out they didn't work. It's amazing how we got to go through this in life. And it's the fun part about life, even though it's not fun. Does that make any sense? It's like it's fun, but not fun. It's sort of the struggles, the learning process we go through in life, the scars we have to get, even battle scars. I call about them all the time. Everybody ragging me about the one I have on my forehead right now. But it's a battle scar. It proves that my head's still hard. After 2 falls and getting banged around a little bit, it's still there. Totally amazing, isn't it? Well, I thank God for that today. I didn't like it when I went through it, that's for sure. That's amazing. But I look back on it today and I can actually smile about it. Now I understand my father when he said, I had this problem called incapitosa. In Italian, that means brickhead. And now a lot of people tell me I've got a brickhead. Because I went through a lot in the course of my journey in life. Also, God works in mysterious ways because he sends people into our life to be our teacher. It's amazing. I look back on my journey today and a person I really had a hard time with in my journey. The Bishop of Camden. And when I get up there, I got to really thank him and give him a hug. I got to thank him. When I went through what I went through, I didn't thank him because basically he was tough. He fought and battled with me. And he said to me when I was on leave of absence and running Starting Point over in Philadelphia, he said, you got to come back to the diocese. He was telling me either you know why to get off the pot. And I went back to the diocese. Then he sent me to a parish to help out on weekends. That's the parish where this particular lady sent me to that doctor. Did that happen by accident? No. It's amazing how this process happens in life. And the amazing part about it is all these people that come into your life that touch your life, help you to make decisions and make changes. And sometimes the hardest thing to do in life is to have to listen and be open what I call the relationships of life, the aspect of it. My favorite movie is The Lion King. They talk about the circle of life. And Simba kind of gets lost a little bit, like we all do. Then the higher power comes along, that's Rafiki with the stick, and smacks him on the head a few times and says, get your rear end back into the circle. Get back where you belong. It's the same thing as regards recovery. I look at it today totally differently. I see it as my family. I see it as people I'm connected with. And I found this really interesting because this past weekend, I lost another one of my cousins, and I got to spend time with her before she left us. And I really went through kind of a real feeling stage this weekend because I'm an only child. And basically, my cousins were my brothers and my sisters. They really were the family. And at one time, I had 15 of them. Now there are 2 left, me and my cousin. And you look at that and you say, wow. All of a sudden, we look at it differently. So as a result, I have a lot of gratitude because I have my wife's family who adopted me. I also have my recovery family. And now I appreciate my recovery family even more because now I've got more brothers and sisters. I have younger brothers and sisters. I have all kinds of people in the course of my journey. It's fantastic. It really is. I look around here and I see family. I see family from people that are close to my generation down to people that are younger generation. And that's what it's really all about. We're part of each other. We're connected with each other. That's the excitement, the journey, the fun of life. And so I'm learning that relationships are the key point in life. Yes, we're going to run into situations where we're going to get hurt, in situations where things won't work. We have to go through it. Every recovering person I know didn't just walk down the street one day and say, I'll drop in for some recovery. They had to come in, take it in screaming, come in with pain, come in with struggle. Everything in life, we got to go through that. And even in good, healthy personal relationships on a committed basis, we still go through our struggles. Then we go through loss. People leave us. We have to say goodbye. It's interesting sometimes to experience this and go through it because I realize more and more now, as the journey of life goes on, changes continue to happen. Those spokes keep developing. We see this in all different areas of our life. We see it even in people that have left us that are still part of our journey. They're part of our relationship journey. I look back on my own journey. I remember when I was a young priest, I was 29 years old, and I had one of those powerful spiritual experiences. I was with a lady in my parish that was dying of breast cancer at age 29 years old, same age as me. And I sat there with her. And to see the courage in her as she said goodbye to her children, goodbye to her husband, and actually told her husband, you take care of these children. I'm not leaving you. My body has to leave, but my spirit will always be with you. My spirit will be connected to you. And then she said to her husband, take the kids and go now. And no, I'll always be with you. Then she asked me to stay with her and hold her hand until she left this world. And to me, just to be able to see that and experience that, went through that with one of our counselors, Teresa, when she died. Teresa actually got me in a room one day, and she used to live nearby me. I went to see her when she was getting ready to leave this world. And she said to me, now, here's how I want you to conduct my funeral. She had a few control issues, what can I tell you? So we had to map the whole damn thing out. And then she even did a recording of something she wanted to say. She had to get the last word in again. I still smile about that today. And I realize the fact that takes so much courage to realize the fact that she's going to get ready for another relationship. Her spirit is going to go to another place to be connected, to be able to experience other things in the course of your journey. And I really believe that because I really believe that all of us are on this constant journey. That's why it's not important how old you are. It's not important where you are because some of us leave this world early. Some don't. Some stay longer. Some, we have a hard time getting rid of them, but that's okay too. The bottom line is it's all part of our journey. And that's the fun part about life. But laughter is a big part of recovery. Even when it's not funny. Sometimes all we can do is laugh. We can laugh at the curves life sends to us in these relationships. But higher power is always sending us messengers and teachers in different areas of life. In 1976, God sent a man named Norm, beautiful guy in recovery, my sponsor. He said to me one day at a meeting in Center City, Philadelphia, the mustard seed. He took a mustard seed, took it out of his pocket, put it in my hand and said, "This mustard seed is your future, Vince." I didn't know he was actually conning me, but that's all right. That's how we do things. The next day is when I was invited to a meeting and the mustard seed became starting point. And here we are. Who knows how this stuff happens? Nobody does. It's amazing how these things happen. So Norm was a great teacher, a messenger from God. The people in that room were the individuals I met over the course of my journey in life. You know, I could tell you 25 stories of guys that came through the house, people that were connected with it. They were all part of the individuals and all part of the journey. And that's all part of it. That's why I look around this room, even tonight, at the people I've connected with over the course of my journey. And did I fight and battle with this also? Yes, of course. I remember the first time something called Zoom was introduced to me. My nutritionist called me up one day and said, "I want to do a workshop. I want you to do it with me, but I want to do it on Zoom." I said, "Zoom what? What's Zoom all about?" It's amazing. And so in reality, I realized the fact that she said, "We're going to do it on Zoom." I says, no, none of that stuff. No. Well, the bottom line, I did the workshop. I got introduced to Zoom. And now I drive Loretta nuts because now they call me a Zoomer. But the beautiful part about it is it's opened up all kinds of doors for me. You know, I meet people from Texas, from California, from Florida. I mean, good God, I never saw. I'm back with him again. It's totally amazing. All these things we're connected with, right, Saul? It's all part of the journey we go through in life. If it wasn't for Zoom, I would connect with Billy, my picture from when he was a kid. It's amazing. All the people I've met in the course of my journey, Nebraska, South Carolina, go to my home group meeting. And even we have 27 people in my home group meeting, my Eating Disorders Anonymous meeting, and only 6 of us are from South Jersey. Everybody else from around the countryside. We even have somebody there from England. It's totally amazing in my home group. But it's exciting just to be able to meet all these people. My sponsor lives in California. I meet my sponsor every Saturday for an hour and a half. I'm connected in all many different ways. It's just amazing. But see, it comes to a point. Isn't it amazing with relationships? We even have relationships with our pets. They're so important. Christina's little pet was here a few minutes ago. You know, it's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful though, because that's a relationship. And I'm going to tell you, pets are great teachers. They have a beautiful sense of spirit. And they're able to teach us so much if we get in touch with them. Of course, my grand dog, who's a Jack Russell Terrier, taught me something called energy. I mean, that little thing has so much energy, I don't know what to do with it. He actually jumps and goes up to my nose when he jumps. But it's amazing, I love him. It's fantastic. See how simple it is? But we pick up energy, we find it from different places and different things. And it's not important because I really believe that the higher power speaks to us through nature. You know, doing a lot of studies with the American Indian, doing a lot of studies with the American Indian meditation books. I have learned so much about my connection to nature, how to respect it more, to be connected. Everything is valuable in this world. Even though I know we live in a dysfunctional world, it doesn't treat everything valuable. We live in a world that sometimes that it gets crazy, it gets insane, it gets caught up in all the material stuff. But what's really important? Was that material stuff important? No. It's what's in here that's important. In your heart and the beauty inside of you. So those beautiful people in the world I ever met, the people coming off the street. You know, I learned so much from street people who are at the bottom of the ladder. They taught me so much about life. Maybe they didn't have a lot, but they did have something. You know, I always tell the story of my buddy, little Joe, who taught me a relationship with God and taught me how to pray. They look at a guy here to study theology, who taught me how to pray. A little street wino called Joey in South Philadelphia. Came to our halfway house. I used to love him. And we put him in, I gave him a bed. Everything he owned in his life was in a shopping bag. He took a crucifix out of his shopping bag. His crucifix was distorted. He got out of a trash can somewhere, I'm sure. I said, "Who's that, Joe?" He said, "That's the boss." I talk to the boss every day. Some days I give him hell. Some days I tell him how much I love him. But every day we have a man-to-man conversation. And I tell him exactly how I feel. And he knows me. Don't worry. Do you know that is the highest form of prayer? Honesty with the God of your understanding. To ask for help and guidance that come from your pain and your struggle sometimes. And little Joe used to be so adamant about that, about his connection with the boss, as he used to call him. And he said, "I know the boss is here. The boss gave me a bed today. Thank you, boss. I didn't have one yesterday." I told him, "I don't know. We're having a good time today or not. Maybe tomorrow we'll talk about it." And I love when this constant laughter and people that don't take life too seriously. They'll loosen up a little bit. I go to my therapy session every morning down at the gym here at Holiday City. I meet my 6 buddies. All we do is have fun. We laugh, we carry on, we're half nuts. We get some exercising in the middle of it all too, but we have a good time. It's a way to relax, to take it easy. And laughter is a big part of recovery. Sometimes you have to look at life, we have to laugh at things that aren't even funny and get you through the day. And that's part of the journey. We don't know where things are going to go. We know nothing about tomorrow. I don't want to know about tomorrow. It's the unknown. I leave the unknown alone. All I know is I have today. I have the people in this room. I have all of you. I have my family. I have what I have today, and I'm grateful. So I'm learning to have a sense of gratitude, a sense of humility, a sense to be able to learn, to realize the fact that everything is in process. Everything is constant change and growth. Nothing stays the same. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could just find that perfect niche and just stay there? It would be boring as hell. The process of life is supposed to be this constant change process. Things take you in different directions. I mean, today I went to work, it was a starting point. And I ended up doing things I never thought I'd be doing. I had a schedule for today, but somebody came along and changed the schedule. I ended up cleaning out a closet up there today. It probably hasn't been cleaned out in 15 years. I said, "Oh my God, I don't believe half the stuff that's in here." I didn't expect that today. I didn't expect a lot of things today. But my receptionist and I did it, and we laughed and we carried on. And we said, "Oh, look at this." Then we found a couple little dead things back there. That was fun too. So the concept is we realize the fact we can laugh about that and look at it. Was it a mess? Yeah. Did I get dirtied up a little bit? Yeah, what the hell? Dirt's part of life too. They're all relationships. Every one of them is a relationship. So even sometimes getting your hands dirty is a relationship. Sometimes a hug is a relationship. People that we're connected to. And even around us, because I look at the gift of my wife, the gift of my grandkids, the gift of my stepdaughters, the gift of people that are part of my journey. And I know God sent all of them into my life to be my teacher, to help me on the journey. The fun part about it is you never know where it's going to come from. The messages come from. They come from the strangest people sometimes at the strangest time. You got to try. It's not easy to be open to the messengers. And from the messengers, we learn to become messengers ourselves, to carry the message, to be open to new things in life. And sometimes the messengers come on TV. It's amazing, isn't it? You never know where it's going to come from at one time or another. So I realize over and over again, stories and things to that effect, how we experience life. So what I'm saying this is we end relationship series is look within your own self. Look at all of your relationships. Try to look at them in a positive way. Why are these people in my life? What lessons can I learn from them? Why are these pets? Why are these things in my life? What can I learn from them? Why am I here tonight? What can I learn from that? Why am I connected to the people around me? What can I learn from that? It's all part of it. Because really, in reality, I have to try to the best of my ability, and believe me, it's not easy, to look at everything in life and try to learn something good from it. But I will warn you, sometimes you got to go through a little bit of struggle, sometimes a lot of struggle, sometimes you got to do a lot of fighting until you finally come to that gift, that beautiful gift, that beautiful spiritual gift called acceptance. I tell you this 500 times. Two of the most spiritual words on the face of the earth are acceptance and adjustment. It's amazing how we're adjusting to life. Even when it comes to our aging, amazing, isn't it? My grandkids grew up, try to put a brick on their head. Starting cord kept growing and try to put a brick on that. Everything keeps growing. I don't know. But that's the adventure. That's where faith comes into play, where trust comes into play, to be open to new things and new directions. I try to tell my board of directors, I tell everybody this all the time, don't worry about it. God's got your back. Everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. Be open to it. It's a beautiful part about the journey of life. And I'm learning more and more as I get older. I worry less. I become more open to the gift of life. And so I'm grateful to be alive today. I'm grateful to be on this side of the dirt. Isn't that wonderful? Fantastic. And every day I say thank you. Go to bed tonight, on my knees. Thanks God for this beautiful day and for all the beautiful people that came into my life today. It's amazing. That includes you too, John. Not a problem. All came into my life today. They're part of my journey. They're part of the process we go through in life. So learn to celebrate each other, because each one of us is involved in a relationship with one another. That's what it's really all about. And so I want to say a prayer tonight as we close this series out, because I get excited because this series flows right into the next series on personal growth. And I'll be doing a whole thing connecting relationships and sexuality to spirituality. And that'll be our connection to go into the personal growth process starting next week. And so I'm going to ask you to pray to allow us to look within ourselves, to look at the relationship of ourselves, be able to share that with others. So let us pray. God, we come before you as a family. We come before you in prayer. We come before you as we walk the journey of this earth. Sometimes we don't know where we're going. We know somehow, some way. If we ask for your guidance and for your direction and for your help, the messengers will arrive. They'll arrive sometimes when we least expect them to arrive. Please help all of us to be open to them, to be open to the journey, and to realize we're never going to be done. I don't want to be done. I want to be able to continue to move forward, to experience the beautiful journey of life. I hope and pray that every day, one day at a time, I can learn something new and do some more growing, to go through some more struggle, and sometimes more loss, and realize all of it is part of this journey of life. And so you keep opening the doors. I pray I'm able to walk through them. I pray for all of us to walk through them, even though we'll be scared to walk through them. It's okay. We'll be led. Beautiful part about life. And so we celebrate all of our relationships, even those that were negative, for hopefully we'll be able to learn and grow from them, which is part of the journey and the beauty of life. We pray, continue to ask for your guidance. We pray for it in your name. Amen. And now I'm going to ask you to unmute, and the maestro now takes over, and she's going to lead us in the Serenity Prayer. Just watch the bouncing ball. That's Patty right there. Okay.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.